Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Forecast. I'm your StormTracker8 meteorologist, Madison Olms, and today I am joined by Chief Meteorologist Matt DiNardo. How are you doing today, Matt?
Doing great. Got that sunshine out there. A little chilly, but you know what? We'll take what we can get at this point.
We were talking about trade-offs the other day, and this is exactly one of those with some cooler weather, but at least that sun is out.
That is out, yeah.
And we do have a few key points for our show today, mostly rain, wind, and fire to start off with one of them, and then also some warmer temperatures headed our way.
Which is going to be really nice. And not to mistake, by the way, rain, wind, and fire from earth, wind, and fire, just so everybody knows. But we have very interesting topics to talk about today for sure.
Yes, absolutely. But as always, we start with some weather history. So in 2012, there was some hail, isolated tornadoes, and some wind damage here in the metro and the peninsula region. But the big one for this day in weather history is what happened in 2016.
Yeah, this is the 10-year anniversary of one of the biggest, I don't want to say in terms of numbers tornado outbreaks, but in terms of severity outbreaks, and so early in the season. It was on this day, February 24th, as you know. We had one was a Waverly outbreak. That was an EF1, and that one had a path length of about 9 miles, but killed 3 people. Oh, and then that was at about 2:30 in the afternoon. There was a couple of lines that were forming. That was the eastern line. Then there was a western line, which was in Appomattox, and it created another EF3 tornado at about 3:30 in the afternoon. That then kind of fell apart. There were some reports of some tornadic touchdowns in Fluvanna County as that cell moved north and east. But really the biggest one is Tappahannock, and that happened in the evening. It actually, for our area, was incredible. Started at about 6:45 at night in King William and King Queen County, Middlesex County, then working across the river into Tappahannock. Total time on the ground was over 30 minutes, and the path length, if I remember correctly, now I have the data here just to kind of refresh my memory here, was about 30 miles. It was huge. This wind speeds were 140 to 145. Just incredible stuff. Yeah, again, 6:34 to 7:05, so about 30 minutes on the ground. And as you know, Madison, this time of year, after 6 o'clock at night, we're dark. So this was a nocturnal tornado, which made it even worse.
Yeah, I can only imagine just the dangers. Tornadoes bring lots of dangers anyways. And then you add on top being it at night, people really aren't able to prepare as well. And it's hard to see those signs a lot more difficultly than during the day.
For sure. And some of these were rain-wrapped tornadoes, you know, so that made it more difficult. And the severe weather really went from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon all the way through about 9 p.m. at night. There were some smaller tornadoes after the Tappahannock tornado that occurred later in the evening. There was also 3-inch hail. I mean, baseball-sized hail in portions of Mecklenburg County. Right in South Hill was one of the places as well. So, I mean, all of this was extremely rare for us to get. I mean, we've had strong tornadoes, but to have 2 EF3s in one day, 3-inch hail, I mean, this was what you would think of in Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma type weather happening here. And again, happening in February, just so odd.
Yeah, very unseasonable, but that just goes to show that all weather can happen at really any time. And it's just, you have to have those right ingredients. And at that point, even in February, it's still able to happen.
Even always have that plan ready to go. And I know the first week of March is the Tornado Awareness Week here, where kids will do the drills in schools. We'll do some stuff about that too. But that's really important to have that plan.
Yeah, no doubt. Thankfully, we are staying pretty quiet across the country, except for maybe some rain really starting to build up out west. We can see that low pressure system coming in off of the Pacific, just north of California. But for us, we're staying pretty quiet after a pretty busy week last week with all that rain.
Yeah, for sure. But unfortunately, you look at that system out west, and that's the one that will come to us and bring us pretty much a soaker, it looks like now, for Thursday, maybe into very early Friday. So there's more rain yet to come.
Right, and we have that cold front, and that's eventually going to be reaching us throughout the week as well, potentially cooling us just a tad, but nothing as extreme as some of the cold that we've been experiencing throughout the rest of February. But for that system that's out west, that's part of that atmospheric river that we touched on, and that's pulling in just boatloads of moisture. And over the next few days through Thursday, portions of California could see upwards of 4 inches of rainfall by the time this system is fully passed through.
And you push that up higher in the mountains where it's cold enough, you're going to have some pretty intensive mountain snows. So big issues there. And anytime you're near the coast, when you have rain like that, you worry about mudslides, landslides, and things of that nature.
Yeah, especially with flooding. And I mean, I know California has oftentimes seen a lot of drought issues. So a lot of rain for even any of us here at home is very beneficial, but it brings a lot of other issues along with it.
Yeah, you know what, you mentioned the drought, and one of the problems we have, especially when you look at the central basin of California, Bakersfield area, Sacramento south, because they've been in such a drought, that rain, that ground is kind of hard. Now, they did get some rain last week, so it's a little softer, but a lot of times you get more runoff than it does good.
Right.
But they do have collection areas in California to try to grab some of that rain and runoff, which is good.
Absolutely. And with that low pressure system that's already in California and it's going to be making its way across the United States, also bringing quite a bit of potential for some extreme winds. Some folks in Wyoming could maybe be seeing up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts as this is making its way through, especially between Tuesday night and all day through Wednesday as well.
And when it comes down the mountain, that's a drying wind, which could lead into other potential areas. Since you titled it, I think rain, wind, and fire, that's going to be one of our concerns as we get into later this week, and especially for portions of eastern Colorado, eastern New Mexico, central Texas. You get the strong winds aloft, you get the very dry air, and we could be looking at elevated to possibly critical fire danger, not only today, but even tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and this is taking a look specifically at Wednesday, where we still are seeing some very critical chances for those fires, mostly because of how strong the winds are, but then you also have to mix it with that dry air. And it's not a great recipe to have.
No, it is not. And that entire area, again, has been in a drought for quite some time. It's one of the more significant droughts in our entire country, actually. That and Florida. People don't think about Florida being in a drought, but they really are.
Yeah, and we can see the progression of this system throughout the week. We talk about a lot of what's going on in California with that rainfall that's going to be happening. So this is taking a look at today, starting today anyways. We see a lot of that green and, like you mentioned, even some snow in some of those higher elevation areas.
Right.
But as we progress throughout Wednesday, we see the track of this system really bringing in where all those winds are going to be tracking out west, but also starting to give us a little bit of a line of showers as we make our way east as well.
Yeah, if people saw it, and when we had the big national map up, there was a cold front stretching from Chicago back to about Denver. That's going to cross us late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Might bring us that quick passing shower, but then we should get some sunshine. And if we're lucky tomorrow afternoon, that's going to push temperatures up a little bit, which is nice.
It's going to feel absolutely amazing. It really is just a morning issue that we're going to encounter, but yeah, the rest of the day looking wonderful, but then we get to Thursday and it's just going to be a damper day.
It really is. It's another, as I like to call it, a crockpot soup type of day. Put it on in the morning, come home from work, and you're all ready.
Sounds like a plan to me. Cozy up at night, stay dry, don't need to do too much else there. But with that cold front sweeping through, we're not going to see too many issues, especially maybe not as extreme cold temperatures as we were seeing, especially to start off the month of February and even parts of that second week as well.
Yeah, I mean, gone for a while right now is those Arctic blasts that we've been having. Now, we do cool back below normal like Sunday, like today, right? And even yesterday. But I think we're starting to maybe hopefully trend to a better scenario.
Yeah, I mean, look at last week. We were above average for the last 5 days of last week. And I think, we have the chance to see more average and closer to average temperatures, or above average temperatures, as we're finishing off this week as well. It was just starting to see a little backtrack in that trend over the weekend when we had a lot of those rain issues and then even that transition to snow. And then Monday, it was just still kind of a cool day, and those clouds were finally clearing out of the way from what we were seeing over the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get some good warm weather in here.
Yeah, and speaking of good warm weather, or at least warmer weather, we're going to be closer to average. This is a temp trend for Wednesday, and we can see maybe parts of the Northeast and even down in Florida, they'll see some below average temperatures, and especially out west. Warmer than average conditions, but we're finally getting back to normal where we're not going to be seeing either extreme.
And we do have a chance that slightly warmer air back to the west will be here for the weekend.
Yes, and we can take a look at the week ahead to see when those temperatures are coming. And Wednesday and Thursday this week, much closer to average or seasonable temperatures for this point in February as we're finishing off the month. But then over the weekend, it's going to look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, normal high for this time of year right now should be 54. I think by the weekend it's 55. So again, we get above average. But then we have a little chill down coming as we get into Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Yeah, with a few more rain chances, but all very beneficial rain still.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
That is all we have for today on this episode of Beyond the Forecast. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to scan that QR code at the bottom of the screen. And we're here to answer any of your questions, and we can feature them on future episodes of Beyond the Forecast. Thank you so much for joining us today.